can receive in Jesus. If you agree with that, go ahead and put an amen in the chat. If you don't, that's okay. Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your opinion. But we're going to go ahead and transition into talking about Aaron's music,
Okay.
how Aaron started. We'll just go ahead and start that. Aaron, what inspired you to do music? I've known, I was skeptical when you were a kid. I think when you started singing, when did you start singing? At 11?
11 or 10.
10 or 11.
One of those ripe ages.
And I was skeptical whether Aaron was actually going to be like good, because I would hear him singing and I would tell my dad, like, Dad, I don't think that he's actually that good. And I'm nervous. That when he goes up on stage that he's going to embarrass himself. But when he would go up on stage, I was shocked and I was nervous. I was anxious, like, oh no. But he actually did good every time. But so I would hear you practicing and it wasn't that good, but then you would go and perform and it was way better than I expected. But why did you start? Why did you want to start? I guess maybe, are you a rap artist? Are you a singer? Like, what are you both? Like, what? Maybe you could tell everybody that.
I guess you could say I'm the best of both worlds. I believe that's what God gave me. He gave me the gift of artistry, the gift of creativity, especially in music. Obviously, music is something God made, so here I am using it in the passion of the gifts He created for me to have. So basically, like Eric is saying, that's true. When I was 9 or 10 or 11 years old, around that time matter, I started to sing. And it happened to, long story short, I had a teacher in elementary school. He was playing Michael Jackson. And this was around the time when Michael Jackson passed away. So I was having a huge envy on Michael. I was listening to a lot of the Jackson 5, Got to Be There, I'll Be There. And I started singing it to a teacher at the school. And the teacher was like, whoa, this kid sounds like Michael. And I was like, well, and my mom, like, no one's going to believe me. No one's going to believe him. Like, you have to tell my parents or something. So he actually has a sit down. He writes my parents an email and says, hey, when you guys have the time, I want you guys to hear your son and his gift. And I came home one day and I was telling my dad about it. And my dad's like, you can't sing. But prior to this, actually prior 2 months before, I told my dad, before I had the teacher, I told my dad, hey, I want to sing. And my dad obviously had doubts. Like, remember that? He's had doubts like, all of a sudden, we're not talented at singing. We do rap music, but we're not talented. We have no voice. So I actually was carrying a tune, but I was kind of too nervous to tell them because I didn't want anyone to judge me and like, oh, he can't really sing. But as you can hear yourself, you feel like you have a tune. So later on, eventually, my voice started to be strengthened and I ended up showing that teacher. He ended up showing my parents. My parents were like, oh my gosh, he can really sing. Then they showed my brothers and it was totally the opposite of what I was expecting with feedback. And I was a kid and I was a crybaby and I cried because I wasn't that good. But later on, eventually, I'd say they started making me do vocal lessons. My voice started to become stronger.
Yeah, who was your vocal teacher?
My vocal teacher was Devin Elaine Boydejo. She recently just passed. Rest in peace to her. I know she's now living in heaven. She was amazing. She actually helped with my first EP when I was 11, actually.
What's an EP for everybody to know?
An EP is actually, I don't really know the right terminology of it, but an EP is actually like a short project of like 4 to 7 tracks. So
it's not quite an album.
It's not quite an album.
Because an album is like, what, 10
to 15 to 20
Okay. So an EP is a short little album. Aaron, you have an EP. And so that's kind of why you started singing. So this new song, So Right, is strictly singing.
Yes.
But the first intro for my countdown clock is your song "About Me" with a good family friend, James Chavez, who introduces the song in that.
Resurrected.
And when did you start? When did you start rapping? I don't remember. Like, it kind of blends in for me when you sing and rap. When did you start rapping?
So I believe I started rapping actually way before I started singing. So I was honestly like 4 years old, or probably 5, somewhere around the time. I remember I used to go up with Dad because obviously, guys, like I said, my dad did gospel music for many years. Um, so what inspired me to do music? My father. My father inspired me to do music. Inspired me to do seeing him up on stage, grabbing the mic, gravitating to the mic, people listening to what he had to say through music. So I was in awe of that. So yeah, that's what really inspired me. But what was I saying? Before
Well,
close
I
it
just
out?
wanted to know when you started
Oh
rapping.
yeah, so
Like when did that
I
happen?
started rapping like 4 or 5.
Okay, I so
Recorded when I was 8.
you're
First song
four,
recorded
you're
at 8.
4 and 5, or four, and so you're born in '99,
Yeah.
and I was born in '92. So there's a 7 year difference. So you're
Yes.
4 or 5. I am. What's 7 plus 4? 11. Okay, so I'm 11 or
I'm
12.
23 now, so do the math.
Okay, so I'm 11 or 12 when you said you started rapping. 11 or 12 is when I I think I wanted to start rapping. I wanted to start rapping, and because Dad did it, because because Gabriel did it, our older brother did it, and so I'm like, you know what? I could do this too. And I always had this like personality of like I can do things. I know I could do it.
He had potential too, but
But my older brother discouraged me,
really?
and he said I didn't have it. But honestly, I think he was right. I couldn't keep time. I still can't keep time with rapping.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I can keep time with like the guitar, but I can't keep time with rapping. If you were to put on a beat, and just so you guys know, if you're watching this, Aaron's gonna freestyle at the end of this, so make sure that you stay to the end, since see Aaron's freestyle. And if you are getting value from this, like this video. Also, you can ask any question that you would like. But yeah, I was discouraged from rapping, so that wasn't the path that I went on. I tried publicly.
Yeah.
I think Vocab tried to actually help teach me a little bit when we did The One, which was a musical that
I remember that.
our dad helped write about Jesus.
Right.
It was a hip hop musical. I tried doing that. He tried helping me. I just wasn't good. I got beat out by a girl for a rap part. She was a better rapper than me, even though I didn't think so. But she was a better rapper than me. I guess everyone voted that she was better than me.
She wasn't very good.
What do you think? If you think that I should, if I should start rapping, let me know. Probably not. But okay, so Aaron, I wanna talk about your sound. Like you have a specific type of sound as far as the beats that you're attracted to. What sound is that, and what is it about? Like I think it was a sample of Computer Love, Roger and Zev's Computer Love, right? Your new song So Right was a sample of that. You have a kind of an interesting sound that maybe is not common.
Right.
Tell us about that sound that you like.
I love West Coast. I love R&B, sound of funk. Nowadays, especially in 2022 and just in my era, that sound is kind of dying off. But I stay true to my sound because my dad loves old school. I love old school music. Hearing people like Charlie Wilson, I love Charlie Wilson. Hearing people like Alexander O'Neal, from Alexander O'Neal to Luther Vandross, I can name a whole bunch. But hearing just the sound of funk, I love hearing the sound of funk and the harmonies in R&B music in the 80s. So I twist that and I bring it back to my modern era, especially with like modern West Coast. I'm talking like with new styles like DJ Mustard style, like Ty Dolla Signs, like Chris Brown style. Now, Chris Brown and them are kind of doing that in a way, but I'm doing it in a more type of criteria where it sounds old school, but mixed with modernized sound. So it's hard to put it together, but all I know is that it's my sound, and I'm grateful that I have that type of sound in my type of delivery in my music. So.
Would you say so? Our family was really into West Coast rap,
Yes,
for sure, and the early 2000s, like we're dedicated to West Coast rap. I remember that I was all about West Coast rap, even and I was really into rap at that time. Like I still listen to some rap, but not as much as I used to. But you mentioned a lot of artists. Would you classify your genre or your subgenre of hip hop music or R&B music and rap music? Would you classify that as West Coast, or is it not, or is it just something different, mixing of it?
it's not. I'd say it's West Coast, but it isn't, because if you think of it, not everyone's doing what I'm doing in a way with R&B mixed with West Coast. No one's doing rap music and then mixing it with something with what I'm doing. Honestly, I just say it's more mine. I would say it's more Western style. West Coast R&B is what I'm basically going to say. I want to try to say it's my own because I'm doing it my own way, but the beat sounds and stuff like that, it gives you a Western feel. But I'm not really doing the main two things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm doing it my own twist, my own thing.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? So you mentioned a lot of like secular artists just a few moments ago, and we're gonna get to this next subject. We're gonna talk about secular music and should Christians listen to secular music. We're gonna be talking about Tupac. So stay tuned. In just a few moments, we're gonna go ahead and talk about a little bit more about Christians and secular music.